if it's somewhat apologetic in the approach that it takes, maybe that just reflected the times. Maybe it was the only way to get the book published. I mean, there are people that complain about, the point of view of the thing and what have you, but I think it was better than a kick in the head. At least they got it out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, everything in life may not be just the way we want this and that, but if you have some issue that should be, part of the public discourse, it's far better to get it in front of the people than, hide it under the chair.
Well, I want to actually ask you, I mean, you've become pretty much an iconic figure yourself. Tell me what that in itself is like, to be deemed an icon.
I don't know what icon. I mean, we're all icons, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's too complicated for me. I think that, we are who we are. And how we're perceived by other people, it's too complicated. I have no idea. I certainly know, that it's better to kick in the head to be recognized for what you do. That's something to be very thankful for and whatever. But I don't think we have any control over that. I mean, you do what you do, and people think of you what they think of you, and that's good. It's okay. That's all right. I don't know that I've done anything special. I just did the best I could, and a lot of times, just stupid. But assholeism notwithstanding, and just did the best I could.
I hear you.
Yes, I know we're topic jumping over here, but we're gonna jump to another topic real quick. Back to the Stonewall movie that just was recently released, right?
Yes.
How do you feel that the trans women, were left out, but Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia in this Stonewall movie that was just released, and that they were regarded themselves as drag queens and not transsexuals?
Yeah, it's a crime, but it is what it is. I mean, I've seen that been going on forever. Speaking of Sylvia, I was over at the Metropolitan Church the day we were talking to the officials from New York State when they were talking about, the rights and whatever, and they didn't want to add trans onto the issue because they thought it was too confusing to people. That's one of the reasons why I said, the Caitlyn Jenner things make such a big difference, because Caitlyn already is so illuminated that her importance in this thing suddenly brings trans to the front, as opposed to people being able to sweep it under the rug because it's just not part of the conversation. I think it's a crime not to have them in there. It's terrible, but it is what it is, and I think people do the best that they can under the circumstances. I guess I don't know. I had nothing to do with it, but my guess is that they probably were just doing the best they could. I think if they're making it right now, I think, darling, those girls would very much be in there, out front and very much in your face.
Oh no, trust and believe, Miss Sylvia and Miss Marsha, if they were alive right now,
Sylvia was the first one, at least from what I'm told, she was the first one to stand up to the cops.
Yes.
I mean, the place has been raided 1,000,000 times, but that was just one time too many, honey. And she'd go, enough of that, honey. Hello.
Yeah, I've actually been very vocal about the whole erasure of the movie, in itself. So.
And I remember this thing over the Metropolitan Church when we were talking to state officials and what have you. I mean, Sylvia piped up right away, and she just didn't understand that crap about leaving out the trans issue, whatever. But it was, it just is the way it is until it changes. I mean, as it stands right now, the trans kids have no rights. It sucks. It is absolutely repulsive. But the fact of it is, we have made other headway. Certainly, don't ask, don't tell. So, I guess, hopefully, please God, the trans issues are, next to get settled. It's, it's slow going, just inchward. But I would hope that I live long enough to see it fixed.
I want to ask you only because we actually had someone just send us a message via our Facebook page here. Because we were talking about Caitlyn Jenner, and they wanted to know your thoughts around Caitlyn being a Republican and also being against gay marriage. And
I think it's probably useful. I think it's probably useful. I think that it gives Caitlyn a kind of credibility to that side of the aisle that and probably most of the girls would not have. I mean, first of all, that Caitlin's so well known. Next, that she's already rich and established as a sports star, and then last that she's a fucking Republican. I mean, just it couldn't be better. I mean, if I had to invent her, I'd invent her just like that. Because I mean, the fact of it is, the most difficult people in there are probably the Republican side. So maybe they'll hear her. They certainly wouldn't hear people from the other side. That's for damn sure. They don't even hear each other.
Let's
right?
hope they do hear her. Yes.
Yes. Hello. Absolutely. And I mean, her point of view, but I have no idea what it's like to be Caitlyn Jenner because I'm not a sports star. I'm not rich. I don't know what her life is like.
I don't think any of us know what it's like to be Caitlyn right now. Actually.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's a very unique situation. It's a very unique situation. But I think it might actually, ironically, very helpful that she is a Republican. That's what she gets their ear, hopefully. I mean, it's more likely they're going to listen to her being a Republican than it is to, I mean, you don't have to preach to the choir. I mean, it's helpful, otherwise we forget to sing. But, it's really the other side that they have to reach.
True, I guess. I mean, yes. I'm always for, a two-sided opinion, I guess. So, Izzy?
You know what? I have another question because I'm going through the feed. I'm going through the messages. People are tweeting me and leaving messages on Facebook. You know how the fans are. So I'm going to pick one. And this is very controversial. But back to the movie of Stonewall. They are saying, a lot of people are saying that the movie lacked a lot of African American characters. How do we feel about that, guys?
I mean,
is that really
well, I had nothing to do with making the film. I certainly think it's a miracle that the film exists. I think it may not be truly representative of what was going on there. Maybe disproportionately there weren't enough African American kids in this. I don't know, but I don't think it was so much about the racial thing as it was really about the issue itself. The fact that the issue of the bulls was gotten out there in front of people who are more familiar with behind the scenes, that's a damn good argument. And it wasn't fairly represented. That's a damn good argument. It's the same thing I could say about the trans issues, a damn good argument. But the fact of it is, at least they got it out there.
Now, you said you were in the LA area during the Stonewall riots, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So were you anywhere near the Compton cafeteria, riots at the time?
No, I was at the time that Stonewall happened. I was working on Myra Breckenridge, so we were at the studio all the time, and that's what I was doing. But at the exact time that this thing at Stonewall happened were the Sharon Tate killings. Yeah. So all the news in L.A. was about the Sharon Tate thing,
So that was so overshadowing that, yeah.
I don't think people realized at the time how important Stonewall was. I mean, all of this, when you get distance on things, you see a lot better sometimes with perspective than you do when you're up close to. And after a while, you kind of look at Stonewall. It was majestic. It was such an important moment in history. But at that time, when it actually happened, I think people probably had to get perspective on just what was going on there.
Did you actually get an opportunity to watch the new movie?
Right.
Did you actually get an opportunity to watch the new movie?
I have not seen it yet. No, I'm going to see it next week.
Next week. Okay.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I have not seen it yet. No. Have you seen it?
I have not. I think I'm going to hold out. I'm going to wait.
I'm going to see it, but my opinions are just my opinions. So the movie's already done, and there's nothing to do. But I will observe, and just see for myself and have my opinions. One thing I wanted to let you know was I heard recently you attended some ballroom scene activity, and you showed up at a ball.
I went to the last ball I was at was last year, which is absolutely superb. It was there someplace up in the Times Square area, and it was oh my God, it was so good. But I'm an old fart now, so it's not as easy for me to get around. But it was pretty damn cool. I loved it.
Do you remember the name of the ball?
I don't. I know that the beige was in there, and a lot of the houses were represented and stuff. I mean, it's a lot different now from the way that it was back in the day, in that it's a lot slicker now. It's much more commercial and slicker and what have you. But the energy is still it's gorgeous.
Okay,
It's just
it's become
gorgeous. I love it.
From what it sounds like, it's become more commercialized from your.
Yeah, like I mean, everything.
Yes. Okay.
And New York City, New York City is such a whore darling. I mean, we'll figure out how to turn coin.
You got it. You heard it from you heard it from an icon themselves. The scene is not as authentic as it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a lot pricier than it used to be. I mean, the place where they had the thing was some fancy theater over in the Times Square area, and I'm sure it was very pricey. It takes a lot of money to put the thing on. I mean, back in the day, it wasn't like that. They were really guerrilla affairs. They were put on. And
yes.
It was really about the energy of the kids. That was what financed it. It was
very grassroots. It was very organic. It was definitely
exactly. Exactly, and just I mean, you could argue that that's a lot more real.
Exactly, it was a much more authentic experience for folks to have a
Yes.
Nowadays, you've got again, it's kind of going back to the original ways of the old days. Now you've got celebrity judges in these posh hotel settings with these ball events going on now.
Yes,
so it's kind of ironic. It's kind of gone right back to the era.
I know, it's funny, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, everything old is new again.
Exactly. Everything becomes recycled. Yeah.
Well,
we are moving forward.
Yes,
Please God, as best as this part I can tell, it seems to me as if things are moving forward. I do think progress is being made, and what you're doing right now is a big step in the right direction, kids. I love you for it. I think.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Jack, please, in the best detail, give us, your best experience. How was the gay life back when it was underground before Stonewall?
Well, I mean, it was a lot hotter because everything was, forbidden fruit.
No, that's
so I think, you know what I mean? So, it's complicated. It's certainly a lot easier now, and it was a lot hotter then. You win some, you lose some.
I'm the naughty girl of the two of us here. I'm going to ask you, give us a juicy moment then. Give us one of your during that time.
I mean, New York had all the bathhouses going, and the docks were going, and what is now the High Line was a place you climbed up into the abandoned windows out one of the windows onto that, thousands of guys up there having sex. It was just the nature of the beast was, very different from what it is now. Everything now is so sterile and I don't know, just
gentrified,
just different.
Yes, very gentrified.
He said authentic. He used the word authentic.
Yes.
Well, I guess authentic is the issue. I mean, the fact of it is, when it was very forbidden, when it was very dangerous, when it was very precarious. I mean, the lady that had La Mama used to go down with that big school bell she had at the theater, and when the cops were coming to raid the trucks down the lower west side, she'd ring the bell outside and say, "Hey, you girls from La Mama, you better get the hell out of that truck because the cops are on the way." I mean, it were different times. It's very, very different times. It was a lot more raw. And a lot more, maybe you could say real, But I do think that, it's very important if you want your rights as a citizen, that, the stuff is illuminated and properly in the public forum. Because while it might be, more fun to be a dirty little secret, the fact of it is I don't want my entire life to be a dirty little secret. Thank you very much,
Well, speaking of dirty little secrets, there were a lot of dirty little secrets going on in the meatpacking district, actually, from back in the days. It's not so much so anymore, but
no.
Did you?
The high red district now.
Yes. Did you have any experiences back in the day with the stroll area back in the days where the girls?
Oh, sure. I knew it well. And when Mother was at its zenith. Right around the corner from the club, the girls used to, work on 13th Street, 14th Street, work in the streets and whatever. It was really fabulous in a way, but, in another way it was kind of grotesque. One of the things that was most grotesque about it is a lot of those girls didn't have any choice no matter how to make a living because they just had no rights, couldn't get a job. Well, that hasn't changed. And And that's that's a very repulsive aspect of all this
Exactly.
dynamic.
It's ironic,
which is
actually.
why it's so important for trans issues to be legal, to be part of citizenship.
Very, very right. Wow, thank you for that.
Well, thank you guys so much. It's such a privilege, and you're wonderful. And I hope I have the opportunity to meet you in person. I would love that. I would love to live long enough to have that.
I've known about you for a minute now. Actually, yeah, but definitely, it would be a pleasure to